Hello, and welcome. As you can tell by the title, today's video is not a healing, but instead talking about my book, Not Your Cult's Energy Work. I wanted to go over some of the things that I went over at the book event. That was a class. It was a free class where we went through the book and we talked about some of the questions that people had, and we went through some of the exercises. We went through 14 of the exercises back to back. The purpose of that was to experience, instead of separated exercises, to go with me leading one after another as a whole one exercise. And it does change the effect of how the exercises work when you do them as a gambit, if you would say. The book, if you didn't know, is a basis of energy work. This is not Reiki. This is not anything other than just energy work. Accessing the whole point of the book in the beginning, the first exercise, when it gets to that, after the first 80 pages of talking about things you need to know beforehand in a Kundalini exercise, you begin to access the energy body. You're becoming aware. You're becoming aware of your energy body so that you can sense your own energy body to connect with the rest of the world. How do we do this? Well, we pair into it. I do a quick example of this. Every healing, the first thing we do, we're grounding and going into the earth, and we're coming back up, and we are more aware of our energy body. If you pay attention to how you feel when you do that, that's basically how the exercise works. But this is done in the videos to ground us. The work of the book is not just that awareness, though there's multiple parts. There's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. And each part leads you through a different part of the process. First awareness, then the energetic shadow work, then the alchemization, then the interconnectedness, and then the transmutation of all that work itself. I was running classes, that's how this book came about, on energy work at the local shop that I happened to do the book event at. And the owners kindly allowed me to run classes there based around my own energy work experience as it began when I was 19. And when I was 19, I had meditated for quite a while of years, a few years at that point. And I was doing a meditation for my heart chakra, and I felt it ping and reverberate like rings reverberating out from my heart. And after being atheist for a long time, after being Christian, you see how we circle back, this reverberation of my heart chakra made me realize, I found the thing I was looking for all those years going to church and experiencing things. I would go to the big people church, as we called it. I wouldn't go to the children's stuff. I'd go to the big people stuff, the adult stuff. And I'd listen to the sermons, and I'd feel the worship. When we would worship, I would feel that energy. And when I opened that heart chakra fully, and I was like, I found it. It reverberated out, and I understood that this was what I was looking for all those years. That I was finally aware of the energy latent inside of me that I couldn't find. Coming back to the title, that's where the title came from. I don't know if it's focusing. Let's see. Yeah, it's some places. The title of the book comes from when I was teaching these classes, and I won't say names of the group, but I was teaching these classes, and the classes were run for $20 a person. For about, they're supposed to be 2 hours, but they were about 3 hours. I think the longest we went was 3.5 hours, So we go through these exercises that I'm preparing for people. I'm like, I can teach this stuff. I didn't realize it. And I'm teaching people for months, and I'm running through some of the exercises that are in this book. Not all of them were taught in the class. Some of these were made just for this book. But I was teaching these classes, and it wasn't that expensive, and people were coming and loving it. Like, they're like, wow, like, this is amazing. Like, I didn't see anyone ever leave dissatisfied, after we do that first initial awareness of the energy body meditation. And I've never seen someone fail to do the work. I've never felt someone fail to do the work when I'm checking everybody. Any blockages, as I like to teach, any blockages that you have are completely in your mind, and you can always let go of them. You don't have to hold on to them. So as I was teaching these classes, I was reading an article on OPB about a certain group in the state that I live in, of Oregon. I live in Oregon, and there happens to be a place elsewhere, and I talk about it in the last chapter of the book. There's a place in Oregon where there are this group of people who opened a shop just to sell like these like water that had gold in it, which probably there isn't actual gold in it, but for like $100, $111, of course, they have to use the sacred synchronistic numbers for that sake. But and it started as this small little thing, and they were promoting themselves as the two Christs. It was a man and a woman, and they're like, the guy is supposedly the Christ, and the woman is supposedly Christ. I don't know how it works. It doesn't make sense in a brain of someone who has studied this type of stuff, but I guess to people who want to rip you off, it does make sense. So they go on this long thing. They kick these people out of a mansion. They start this old lady, I think it is, but they start doing this work with these people and tricking these people into coming, and then they entrap them, and they dose them up on drugs like ayahuasca without them knowing, and other drugs that they don't even know about. And they're doing all this stuff. They're torturing people in a lot of ways. They're using people as servants who just want to come and learn how to be spiritual. And I'm not saying this against the people who ended up in this situation, because I totally get it, but the people who were running it, that's the hate. So I'm reading this article, and I'm getting angrier and angrier, because I'm like, these people are like manipulating these people. Like, there were people who were being financially manipulated, their bank accounts drained, and could not get away. There's people who disappeared and never were found when they tried to leave, and people have said it's horrible trying to leave. One of the ladies in the cult who ended up leaving, the main thing that happened that so I'm reading this. Let's get to this. I'm reading this, and I'm angry. I'm very angry. I'm like, this is fucked up. Like, I watch my language. This is messed up. Bleep that out, of course. So this is really awful. Like, these people are just being manipulated and mistreated for the gain of the lesser, which is, the minority, the people trying to run, the two people trying to run this group and play king and queen of salvation. Who knows, idiotic, if anything. No one's coming to save you, let me just put it that way. No one's coming to save you, save your damn self. So, when I was reading this, and I'm going through it, I'm getting angry and angry, I'm getting sad that these people are suffering. I'm like, I'm teaching these classes for like really cheap, and people are coming and loving it. People are, this is a part of them. And the main thing that made me, that triggered it all, the lady said, the lady that was being interviewed, she said something extremely profound, and it made me like realize, I'm like, I gotta do something. She said, and this is not verbatim, do not quote me on this, but don't quote the way I say it, because it's not verbatim. But she was talking about the fact that all she was trying to do when finding this group was that she wanted to find something spiritual that was going to teach her how to grow. And that's not verbatim, but that's what I took from it. She wanted to learn basically energy work, is what it sounded like, because they use Reiki as a means to make people think that they're, salvation and all this. cult mentality, who knows, but these people got tricked, and it's not that they got tricked because they were stupid, and that has nothing to do with it. They got tricked because the world is so messed up that it's hard to find what's real when people know how to manipulate you. It's hard to find what's real and what's not. So out of anger, I spent the next 7 to 8 months writing this book. I was like, I got to do this. So I published it through Amazon, and I wrote everything in the basis of that everything you need to know to start is in here if you're a beginner or advanced. Everything you need to start with. And at first it was going to be 900 pages, and because I was going to make 100 exercises, and I figured when I got to 36 exercises and I was starting on the next exercises, and I'm already at 300 something pages before it got edited down a little bit. I was like, I'm not making my first energy workbook a 900 page book. Someone's going to see that and be like, I don't want to read that whole thing. So the purpose of the name Not Your Cult's Energy Work is strictly because I wanted this book to be something that made people able to avoid the trap of being in a cult. Like, here is something spiritual that is tangible, that you can use in the world, that you can access, that you can connect with, that you can go deeper with, that you can take this knowledge and run with. You can go further out far as you can. I wanted people to experience something beyond the book and beyond what they could experience in a cult-like setting. People get tricked because they seek spirituality, is what I learned. And because people are seeking spirituality of a certain kind that's beyond their own understanding, beyond the understanding that is easy to find. Like, you're not going to pick up a chakra book and know how to access the energy inside of those chakras other than, the understanding. I did that same thing. I didn't know the meaning, but the understanding is that if you have the basics of meditation, any form of meditation, oh my gosh, the dog. If you have the basics of meditation, you can access this book, and there's multiple ways I make it easier for people to access. I make it easier for people to go through the workings, the exercises, and I make it more adaptable for your own self when you do the work itself. So I make it so you can do it the way it's taught, and then you can go and make it easier for yourself. I want people to be able to do these exercises, like, know them so well that you can just call upon them and do them. And that's how I use them. So when I teach them, I don't need to read through the exercise to teach someone. I just run through the exercise. And sometimes it's a little different because I do them differently than I teach them, because the basics sometimes are easier to learn than the more advanced stuff. So that is why it's called Not Your Cult's Energy Work. That is the purpose of the book itself. I was so damn angry that I wrote a book so that people wouldn't fall into the same trap. That was the whole point. I didn't want people to suffer like that. And hearing that woman's woe about just wanting to find something spiritual hit me so damn hard when I had all this knowledge inside of me. Having all this knowledge deep inside of myself and being like, I'm only reaching, 10 to 12 people at a time in a class. What if I write a book? I've written books before. What if I write a book? So yeah, this was a lot longer than I had planned. I'll make another video talking about the exercises. And if you want to pick up the book, it's on Amazon. Not Your Cult's Energy Work. Hey, I'm in Shama. There's a link below. the next video about the book will be breaking down how the exercises function in the means of how they're workable, and talk about them a little bit. But I'm just going to leave this video here because I talked so long about the title, and I feel like it's important. I feel like it's super important. I feel like it's important to talk about. I feel like the title is such a meaningful aspect of the book, because it's literally what the purpose of the book was. Don't join a cult. Just become something far greater than you could ever imagine, just through the act of awareness. So I thank you very much if you stuck around this long in the video. Pick up the book if you're into it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, and subscribe if you want healings, exercises, workings, because that's basically what they are, but they're healings too. So if you like that stuff, check it out. It's on my channel. And just let me know if there's anything you want. I've got a Facebook, I don't use like any of the other stuff, but there's my email too, if you want to email me. So if you have questions, concerns, or anything, I'm always available. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day.